Welcome to this week's video. I'm Abel, and we're going to be reviewing Adele's new album, 30. Adele honestly needs no introduction. We've known her from songs like Rolling in the Deep and Hello, and she's become a worldwide superstar past, 10, 15 years we've known her. We haven't seen an album from her for about 6 years, up until obviously this one. And so we're very curious to know what's been going on in her life, because it's all we care about as a society is to know what other people are going through while ignoring our own. She's been pretty quiet, save for a few interviews over these past 6 years, maybe a couple concerts, but she's been very quiet as far as her personal life. And what we get here is her update from her own words. We've seen rumors, Twitter, social media in general, news reports, gossip reports, tabloids, all that good stuff. This is her response to all that. We get to see what's been going on in her life with her own voice, with her own words, talking about her feelings and being very, very vulnerable. That vulnerability really is hit home from the very first track, Strangers by Nature. The title is very nuanced, but it can mean one of two things. Strangers by Nature is the rest of us, the ones that are listening to Adele. And it seems as if she's just telling us, hey, I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna tell you my story this far, and we're just gonna have a chat. It could also mean that feeling or that thing that happens when you're really, really close with someone and then something insane happens and suddenly you don't know that person anymore and it's been months or years and you just don't talk anymore. It's almost like you're strangers again. So it's a very nice introduction to the album when it comes to the melancholy sound of it all and really just setting the scene to how things are going to be going. Which leads right into the next track, Easy on Me. Easy on Me is, of course, the album single that's been out for about a month before the album came out. And, of course, it's been overplayed on radio and TikTok and whatever. I think Easy on Me was the track that really made me pay attention to the lyrics. Typically, when I listen to music in general, I don't go to the lyrics first thing. But I felt like from this track, I had to actually pay attention. I was going through and reading along as the track progressed and the album in general. With Easy on Me, it's us again. Be easy on me, I'm going through a hard time, which makes sense, the placement of that track towards the first leg of that album. It's just she's looking for a way to just tell people, I just need some space, I need a break, I need to be left alone for a little bit, and I need you to take it easy on me. Track 3 is My Little Love, and I think it's one of the tracks that I instantly fell in love with when I first heard it. Not just from the lyrics or the vocal intonations that Adele gives, but also from the messaging behind it as well. And I love the fact that she puts in distinct dialogues from herself and her kid as they're talking about things like grown-up feelings that a child can't really understand yet. And so she's trying to explain it to him in the best way possible that a kid's mind could really comprehend without making it seem like, he had anything to do with it. Saying things like, I love your dad because he gave me you. Trying to make it so that she doesn't project any sort of negative feelings about his dad on him. As the song continues to go along, her vulnerability continues to become more and more exposed. We come off from Easy on Me to this track, and we look at her really just sitting there and just speaking to us at that point. It's not even a song anymore. It's just her really just talking to us very tearfully. She's almost sobbing at some points, which is very upsetting to hear. But at the same time, you understand that this album's a little bit different than what a usual album is. What better way to take this album but right into a song called Cry Your Heart Out. The song itself didn't really vibe with, but I understand the placement within the album. Saying something like cry your heart out, it'll clean your face. And it almost tripped me out as far as the vocals that they were using. Almost felt like a 1940s type of vibe. yeah, it was a song, sure. Oh My God is a song that I had to listen to a few times because I didn't really understand what was going on in there. And I think the best thing that I could explain out of this song is the fact that she's going through all this hurt, and there's a point in relationships after a breakup specifically where you just want to go back just to get that feeling of comfort. The meaning behind the song can go one of two ways. Either she's asking God to give her strength not to go back, or give her strength to be with another person. I'm much more inclined to think of the former as what the song is really talking about. Trying to resist that feeling of temptation to go back to the person that hurt you. Can I Get It is jumping right off of that fact, and it seems like she's failing more and more, trying to give in to that weakness of just, I'm gonna go back, he's gonna fix everything, put the pieces back together, and try to make things whole again. She says things like she's gonna love this person regardless. I Drink Wine comes up next. Again, I didn't really think too much of this song. I understand, again, the placement behind it. The message is really prevalent in this song as far as times are tough. Drinking wine, trying to get over this person after they felt like they might be the one to put the pieces back together. She's really just in her feelings, trying to really understand what's really going on at this point. What can I do to really get away from this person and start rebuilding from there? But in this particular moment, all she can really do is drink wine and really forget about this whole thing. And I think from the idea that, she's going back, or she tried to go back to try to fix things with him, but the mistrust is getting in the way, and she can't really trust him anymore to really take care of her feelings. Really, once you hurt someone in the way that it seems like this person hurt Adele, to the extent where she's just completely torn apart by it, to try to go back and fix things, there's still that element of mistrust that's always going to be there no matter what. We get into an interlude, All Night Parking. It's a boppy song. I like it. It doesn't really do much as far as send any message. I think it's more of like a transition song, which is what interludes typically do. But I really liked it. The lo-fi bass, the piano, her vocals, they all flow well in this song, and I really like it. I mean, even though it's an interlude, it's actually really good. And then this interlude does a wonderful job of taking us into one of my other favorite songs, Woman Like Me. Woman Like Me is dense. It's completely... How can I say this? It's one of the best songs on the album, by far. She's getting to a point where she is like, okay, I've done my best. I've done everything I could to love this person. This person broke my heart. I'm getting to a point where I can't do this anymore. I have to be with this person because that's the only comfort I can seek at this point. But she tries to go back. The mistrust that she has has just become a barrier between them. So she's getting to a point where she is going to assert herself. She looks at all the flaws that he has, how he's not doing anything for her at this point as far as pushing her upward. In relationships, healthy relationships, usually a couple are looking to do their best to push each other upward, right? There are times, of course, when one part is down in the dumps or depressed, or something's going on to where the other person needs to support them. But in general, typically the idea is to push each other upward to become their best selves. With Women Like Me, there are a lot of things that Adele is telling this person at this point. She's telling him that he can't be lazy anymore, that he has to take matters into his own hands to win her back. He needs to be consistent with her to keep her, that he needs to set goals for himself, that he needs to be proactive with decisions, that she can't do everything for him. Basically, she's pushing the idea that he's being small or insecure around her. He feels like, okay, I'm with this person. I'm not gonna ever be able to do something grand or anything because I'll always be overshadowed by the person that I'm with. And she conceptualizes that idea with the line where she says, "That's why you think I make you feel small, but that's your projection. It's not my rejection." In the song, she bears her grievances and tells this person that, you know, if he's not going to step his game up, that's it, like she's done with him. And now we get into the song Hold On, which is essentially just her telling herself to hold on to, you know, you're going to get through this tribulation of hurt, heavy feelings, but on the other side, you're going to be a better, more whole person now that you're trying to rebuild yourself without this person in your life either hindering it or becoming an obstacle where, you know, as far as like mistrust or insecurity. To Be Loved is a track also that talks about letting go of the past. It's very much a piano ballad. You know, at this point, she's experienced the ups and downs of love, and, you know, she wants to communicate that to the listener, to us, in the best way possible. She says something that encapsulates all this when she says, you know, she'd rather lose love than lose the things that she can't live without. In this case, of course, that has to be her son. She would rather lose the fact of loving someone who's not treating her right, rather than, you know, lose her child in the process of trying to keep this relationship going. I noted here that her voice is almost the strongest on this album. In this case, especially towards the end part of the song. It just leads to this incredible prison-inducing moment where you just get chills in your body and you really feel like, okay, this is it. We're on the final track. And speaking of the last track, Love is a Game. This is it. This is what we end off with. Adele saying that love is a game. She wants no part in love. She's done playing games. And she asks us, you know, why even bother playing at this point when you're just gonna go on this roller coaster journey with no end? She essentially describes love as a form of self-harm. Like, why would you do this to yourself in the first place? Love is a form of self-harm in this case until you start loving yourself again. She really understands now that she needs to love herself the way she loved him, the way she put all that energy and the feelings and the care. She was not putting that same kind of energy in herself. And that was one of the things that I really listened to, and I said, yeah, a lot of times relationships fall apart because we are interested in making sure that that other person is taken care of. And that honestly is a good thing, but we also forget about taking care of ourselves. So when things like this happen, when the other person, you know, does something insanely bad or something to the point where you have to break up with them, you sit there and you think, oh, I am broken. I didn't take the time to care about myself and love myself the way I should, the way I love that person. And it's such a strong finish. It's a triumphant ending. Finally, Adele's understanding that she needs to put that kind of energy into herself and love herself in order to have healthy relationships, not just with her child, but maybe with another person that she might meet in the future, maybe with her family, maybe with even her fans. You know, the way she is able to come on this album and really talk to us in a vulnerable way just shows the kind of growth that she has had from the time this entire thing happened up to this point. I was really sitting here thinking, okay, what should I rate this album? My rating system is very easy. I rate a track 1 out of 5. I take all those tracks together just based on enjoyment. And, you know, from the way these tracks kind of flow and fit together, adding a point for enjoyment, I'm giving this album an 8 out of 10. My favorite tracks on this album were My Little Love, Woman Like Me, and Love is a Game. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, another review next week. I might go through the rest of my vinyl collection. Who knows? But thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.